Have you ever wondered why some people manage to own multiple homes before they're 30? Or how some couples could go from renting to owning an entire block of rentals in just a few years? Stay tuned because we're unraveling the secrets of serial home buying, a strategy that can turn you into a real estate mogul faster than you can say equity. Hello everyone, I'm Chris Kaiser, your real estate agent here in Hampton Roads, Virginia. And today we're diving into the exciting world of serial home buying. If you're looking to build wealth through real estate, you've come to the right place. Before we really get started, I want to know if you think that I've done these strategies myself. Go ahead and drop a comment below, yes or no, and let me know what you think. Serial home buying is a strategy where you repeatedly buy, live in, and then rent out or sell properties. This approach can significantly accelerate your wealth building process by leveraging the appreciation and cash flow potential of real estate. Let's break down some of the key methods within serial home buying. First up, house hacking. You can watch my previous video here where I talk all about house hacking. This is a fantastic way to start your real estate journey, especially if you're new to investing. House hacking involves purchasing a multi-unit property, living in one unit and renting out the others. The rental income can cover your mortgage, making your living expenses incredibly low or even zero. Imagine you buy a duplex. You live in one unit and rent out the other. The rent from the second unit helps pay down your mortgage. Over time, as property values appreciate and you pay down your mortgage, you build equity. This can be a powerful strategy for first-time buyers and investors alike. Now let's talk about live-in flipping. This strategy involves buying a property and living in it while you do the renovations and then selling it for a profit. The key advantage here is the tax benefit. If you live in the property for 2 out of the last 5 years, you can exclude up to $250,000 of capital gains if you're single and up to $500,000 if you're married. You purchase an older home that needs some work. Over the next 2 years, you renovate the kitchen, bathrooms, and other areas. Once the renovations are complete, you list the home for sale at a higher price. The improvements not only increase the property's value, but also attract more buyers, leading to a quicker sale and higher profit. Moving on, we have the BRRRR method. BRRRR. Just kidding. BRRRR stands for buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. This strategy is perfect for building a rental portfolio. And here are some benefits of the BRRRR method. Now imagine if you find a distressed property that needs significant work. You purchase it at a discount, invest in renovations, and then rent it out. Once the property is rented, you refinance to pull out the equity you created, and this cash can then be used to purchase another property, and the cycle continues. The BRRRR method allows you to grow your real estate portfolio with minimal upfront capital. Now, let's talk about the types of loans you can use to do all of this and their limits. FHA loans are great because of their low down payment, but generally you can only have one of these at a time unless you meet certain exemptions. If you're a veteran, VA loans are great because you can buy with zero down. Similar to FHA, you can usually only have one at a time. There are some exceptions to this as long as you have enough entitlement left to use it. Check out this video where I talk about using your VA loan to its maximum extent possible. Then there are conventional loans. While there's no set limit to conventional loans, your debt to income ratio and lender guidelines will play a role here. Most conventional loans also require 20% down. There are some 3 and 5% down products for owner occupants. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. These institutions set limits on the number of finance properties one person can have. Fannie Mae typically allows up to 10 finance properties, while Freddie Mac's limit is normally 6. But if you're married, you can strategically manage loan limits by having each spouse take out loans separately. For instance, one spouse can take out an FHA loan, the other can take out a VA loan. This way you can leverage different types of financing simultaneously. Now I want to go into a little bit more detail about loan limits. For FHA, you're generally limited to one loan at a time unless you're relocating for work or your family size has increased. VA loans work similarly, but you can have more than one VA loan if your entitlement is sufficient. Conventional loans, there is no set limit, but your debt to income ratio will be crucial. And like I talked about earlier, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have their own limits. For your married couples looking to maximize your loan options, here are some tips. You can have separate loans. You can do serial home buying and rotate your primary residence. You can always refinance. Let's say you and your spouse each qualify for a different loan type. You can use an FHA loan in your name and a VA loan in your spouse's name. And this allows you to leverage both types of financing. Additionally, you can rotate which property you designate as your primary residence. So let's say you bought a house this year under your spouse's VA entitlement, and then in 2 years you buy a house under your FHA entitlement and start renting out the first house. And then a year later you refinance the first house to get it out of the VA, and then another year later you buy another house, move into it under your VA entitlement again, and you just keep doing that year after year after year. When you move out of the old house, you don't have to sell it. You can rent it out. My first 2 rental properties became rental properties in this way. I bought a house 1 year, the VA loan. A year later, I bought another house with an FHA loan and started renting out the first one. And then a year later, I transferred to Guam, so I started renting out the second one. So you see, serial home buying offers a path of financial independence and wealth building through real estate. Whether you're house hacking, live-in flipping, or using the BRRRR method, there are numerous strategies to fit your goals. Remember to consider loan limits and how you can navigate them, especially if you're married. Hey, what's really great as a single person, every 2 years, if you buy a house, move into a new house, buy a house, live in the house, 2 years later, buy a house, move into it, start renting the first one, or even sell it. 2 years later, buy another house. In a matter of 10 years, you could own 5 rental properties, or have bought and sold 5 different houses and made tax-free profit on all 5 of them. As a married couple, it's even more powerful. You also don't even have to wait 2 years if you don't intend to sell. You can buy a house and a year later buy another house and move, rent the first one. A year later buy a house, move, rent the second one. Keep on going. In 10 years you could own 10 houses. You just gotta make sure your debt to income ratio doesn't get you kicked out of the loan office. As a married couple, is even more powerful. You can do the same thing where you buy a house and live in it for 2 years and buy a second house and then move and sell the first one, or you can buy a house, a year later buy another house under the other. So buy a house under your entitlement, a year later buy a house under your spouse's entitlement, a year later buy a house under your entitlement again, and just keep on moving. And that way you never build up too many of the same type of loans. Serial home buying is one of my favorite strategies, and it's so powerful if you do it right. Another thing to consider is with the whole live-in flip thing, you don't even have to live in the property while you're flipping it. You can live in a house, buy a second house, do the renovation on that house, and then move into it, and then sell the first one. And then once you get settled in, buy another house, start the renovations on it, and then once the renovations are complete, move into it, and then sell the second one. And just keep going and going and going. Some people actually do that. Every 2 years, they're buying a new house, renovating it, moving into it, selling the other house, and they're making all kinds of money without having to pay a dime to the government because of the benefit of the $250,000 if you're single and $500,000 no capital gains tax. Everyone should be doing this. Everyone. There's no better path to wealth than real estate, and that's why I'm so passionate about it. And for you naysayers out there, like, I can't buy a house every year or every 2 years. I can tell you that you can because I've done it. I've seen numerous other people do it. I bought my first house and then bought my second house 9 months later. Those became rentals. And then in 2019, I added 4 properties. 4 properties to my rental portfolio. All in less than 2 months. I bought 1 in December and I bought 3 in January. It can be done. I've done it. I hope you found this video helpful. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more tips on real estate. Drop your questions in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And if you're planning on moving into Hampton Roads, call, text, or email anytime. Check out some of my other videos where I talk about the amazing lifestyle and culture here in the Hampton Roads area. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.